Hey, this is Frank Radice. Once again, it's day 3 at Cable 2013, and we're here at the Red Touch Media Experience, and I'm with Fran Kane, the SVP of Marketing for Al Jazeera America. How you doing, Fran? How's the cable show been for you this year?
It's been great. It's been quite an experience. I haven't been to that many of these, but it's fascinating to see all the distributors, the content distributors, and all of the major MSOs, and as well as kind of these technology companies that are enabling the content for them. It's been impressive.
You've been in the cable business for a long time. What changes have you seen from the time that you got in to now? What are the big sort of pain points? What are the really positive things that you've seen about the way the business is developed?
I think there's no question this is the golden age for cable, and I think that's probably something that has evolved over the last 10 years or so. I think brand is king. I think as it relates to how to define a niche and how to define a brand in media, cable is led in that area, and I think these type of experiences, like at the cable show and all these different showcases, are they personify that, they bring that to life. So I think this is cable's time. I mean, this is the probably from a media company standpoint, I don't think there's any question it's the way to generate the most amount of revenue because of the dual revenue streams. I think every other medium is still trying to catch up to that, frankly.
You sit around now and you see ABC and CBS going out there with apps that allow their content to be fully streamed, or ABC's live content in certain markets to be fully streamed. You've got Aereo coming up out there that's starting to disrupt because it's allowing, in I think some 19 markets, the opportunity to see live television. Do you see that as something good? Do you see that as something bad?
I mean, I think it depends on the perspective and the place that you sit. Certainly, having worked on the network side or at the channel side, you want to protect your content and you want to get paid for being the distributor of that content. But at the same time, you can't deny technology's effect on everything. And I think that the industry has to work itself out, and you're starting to hear the kind of saber rattling from the big broadcast networks who are fearful of all of this. And I think it's good and bad. I think that's the answer.
I don't think that ABC or CBS would have made the move that they made if it weren't for what was going on with Aereo, because CBS was the one that started the whole we're going to go cable if Aereo wins in court. Yeah,
I mean, I don't know how that all plays out, frankly, but I think it's going to be an interesting thing to see. You're seeing a lot of these veteran broadcast people, and they've seen the dynamics of this industry change so radically in such a short period of time that they have every right to be protective and concerned.
Let me ask you a little bit about your experience having been on the broadcast side and now certainly being in an executive job on the cable side. Are the differences in terms of the way the businesses are done significantly different, or are they basically the same?
Well, I think the business culture's changed, frankly. I don't know that I think that's just specific to media. I think business culture's changed. I think it's much more competitive, much more fast-paced. People have to be leaner and do more with less than they've ever have. And I think, and I'm not just saying it because we're at the cable show, but I think on the media side, cable led in that area. That some of these strong brands like ESPN and Turner, that's where and then when specifically like ESPN. They were a lean, mean machine that merged with ABC Sports, and you saw which brand and which kind of culture won out on the sports side of that company. So I think, broadcasters, it's just an inevitable that the culture of business has changed, and broadcast networks have had to adjust to it.
So let me ask you a question about, not specifically about Al Jazeera, but about the news, 24-hour news market in cable on television. I mean, it's a pretty full up spectrum of kinds of shows. How do you see the competitive landscape inside that spectrum?
All you have to do is be a consumer to see it. The people chase the eyeballs, and the eyeballs are kind of going in two directions. News being delivered through a partisan filter, or kind of the celebrification, or this kind of creating stories about real life drama that kind of live beyond, and it's it's more pop, more infotainment, and you can certainly understand why that's driving the business. But I think there is a hunger amongst the consumer base for the kind of traditional American journalism, straight down the middle, that kind of news. So these organizations who are kind of rightly going in their direction have created a white space.
Yeah. I think it's very interesting because if you actually take a look at the demographics of CBS News, the Pelly Show, it's one of those news shows that's actually gaining viewers. Of all three of them, whether it's Sawyer or Williams, Pelly's actually starting to make a move, and that's straight, traditional, hard news.
I think that CBS has kind of carved out that niche. That's their brand now, and I think it was smart. I think it was a different direction, and they needed to do something. That network, broadcast network, was successful on all different planes. News was a challenge for them, and I think that they decided to kind of go back to the future.
Let me ask you finally, what do you see for the future of cable?
Well, I think one of the encouraging things here is that what you see when you walk around this show is you see, like I said, all the typical players, but there is an embracing of new technology. There's an understanding that if you're in the business of creating technology that enables content distribution, but you want to play with these big content providers and cable companies, then there's an opportunity. I think that it's kind of evolve and iterate, and I think that the cable industry is embracing of that. And look, digital and mobile are kind of doing what cable did to broadcast TV, and I think because of cable's lineage in being that scrappy, we're going to prove everybody wrong, kind of that mentality that cable had. I think that they're going to be more embracing, and I think that's why it's a great time to be in cable TV.
Fantastic. Fran Kane, the SVP of Marketing for Al Jazeera America. This is Frank Radice, the Red Touch Media Experience. Ciao for now.